Hi everyone!
Hello.
We're back again. So before Laura leaves later this morning,
I gotta go home.
yeah, we wanted to do a second video. So our last one was rather long, but we're not going to be that long with this one.
We won't be that long with this
No,
one.
not at all.
We'll try not to.
So
anyway,
we want to talk about the Forsyte Saga. Now, what triggered me to watch the Forsyte Saga was that somebody on one of my videos asked me if I'd ever watched the Forsyte Saga, this drama from the early 2000s. Well, it's 2002, isn't it? And I said no. It was a drama that kind of passed me by. I had no interest in it. I do have a couple of radio play versions of Forsyte Saga, but I don't listen to them a lot. But I know the story well enough to, and they asked would I consider reading it, and I said, well, it depends if I really, like the story. So I told Laura, and she's like, you must watch this.
I watched it when it aired.
Yeah.
In 2002.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, the first series 2002, second series 2003. This is the set of both series together, and there's 10 episodes combined, the two series combined, but each episode is about 70 to 80 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're only getting 45 minutes an episode.
Which is unusual for ITV.
Yes,
Really
ITV
unusual.
made this. And so, so Laura's like, get a copy. So I went on Amazon, got a copy, and I watched it over a weekend, and I was in love. I watched the entire first series in a day.
See,
You and Sarah were messaging me, and I was like, can't talk. Go away. Can't talk. I have to watch this.
I watched it when it originally aired in 2002 when I was 19 and I was still living at home, and I had a teeny tiny little TV. Do you remember my TV video combo that I had?
Yeah, in a time when video was still...
When video was king.
Well, it was starting to slip at that point, early 2000s.
Yeah.
It was starting to...
Yeah, but I had it, and I absolutely loved the Forsyte Saga. I had no idea what it was about, what the characters were. I literally just, the story unfolded as it unfolded, and I loved it.
I remember you having, there was like a book of they sold like books of, not the actual of the books published by John. It was a companion thing, because the second series had Fleur and John in like this Fleur, sorry. I've said that. That's the second time today I've called a Flora.
Because it's flower, isn't it?
I know. Fleur. Kind of holding each other.
Yeah.
It was, because I remember you having that one.
I don't have it anymore.
Well, no. But I remember you having this kind of companion book thing. So they did that as well. It was massively popular.
It was. It was a huge hit for them.
And I think they made the second series because they didn't anticipate it was going to be such a hit. So I don't know if the second series was made because of that. Or...
I think it's because, like you said, there are 9 books in the saga.
It's 9 books and I think 3 or 4 short stories combined.
Yeah.
And the series 1 and 2 covers, I think, the first 5 books and 1 short story.
I wouldn't
know. 1 or 2.
I've never read them.
Yeah, because one of the short stories is Irene's relationship with old Jolyon.
Right, okay.
Which is touched on in there.
Yeah, because it's possible that they didn't do any more. Partly maybe because of Damian Lewis, because at the time, if you remember, he was
done,
in
like,
Band of Brothers, and he was doing all sorts of stuff in America.
Yeah.
And maybe he just wasn't available.
But the thing is also that at the point where this series ends, as I said, as from listening to radio plays and that, it's the point where Fleur becomes the main character, and Soames is there in a bit in the background, and then when he passes away, it's all about her. And Irene and John pop up for 1 part. So other than that, it's totally brand new characters.
So it's not really worth them adapting it.
Exactly.
No.
So where they stops it with here is the perfect point.
Right.
It's the perfect ending.
Right.
For the
and it is so
it's
beautiful.
Wonderful. So we're going to have a chat about the Forsyte Saga. So of course we're going to talk in depth and certain elements that are really powerful in the story. So we're going to be throwing spoilers in here.
But all you need to know, if you haven't seen it,
and
you don't want to be spoiled, just go and do it. It is 10 episodes of
genius.
Perfect acting, writing, costume design.
And I have to say,
it's brilliant. And the soundtrack was beautiful.
Yeah, which I've also got. Yeah. Which is brilliant. I have to say, because I said this to you, didn't I? I was shocked that this was an ITV drama. Because even though ITV are good at doing dramas, they're better at doing like crime stuff. And even though, yes, period stuff like, say, Endeavour or something, it's still crime. Their actual period dramas aren't really that great. Doubting, I suppose, is the exception in regards to costume and cinematography and all that.
But I think
that for something like Vanity Fair, when they did Vanity Fair recently, Vanity Fair, I wasn't.
But
no,
Downton had American money.
Yes, that's the difference.
That's the difference.
Whereas
this didn't.
I think a drama like this is what triggered to make Downton to be able to be made.
I'm not sure that's...
the ITV going, we've got an audience, they like period stuff, and, you know, it kind of, and because of who the writer was, and...
I'm trying to think when Downton started. When did Downton start? It was 2011?
10 or 11. 10 or 11. Gosford Park was the, late 90s, about 98, 99, that was written by Julian, and this was 2002.
Yeah.
So it's kind of...
Yeah.
So do you see what I mean? How they have that
do
thing
understand
of an audience likes this.
Perhaps there was a large gap with ITV's period drama output, and then Downton happened, and they took a chance on Downton. Yeah. And it just became an international hit.
That this follows one family across 50 years. And can I just say, for makeup, they know how to age people properly in this drama. It was lovely to see that.
They're not just... I mean, I've seen some bad aging stuff, but they do age them beautifully in this drama.
The way it's put together, the way it's written, the silent moments, everything, it's absolutely wonderful.
It's very Pinter-esque in as much as the silence means as much as the words.
Yes.
Yeah. And there is this beautiful sort of Edwardian traditionalism that's slowly being eroded.
Yeah. Because it starts in like 1890...
No, 1874.
Oh, 1874. Oh, no, it's
and
really...
it finishes in 1924.
It's really kind of 96 where June's an adult, isn't it? 1896 where June's an adult, and that's when it really takes off. Because you do have this section in the first episode where it spans quite some time. Yeah. In a very short space of time, but that's because of certain things. And then, bam, June's a teenager, early adult. Let's get her story up, and that's where it really takes off.
It does.
But yes, so are we going to go into spoiler land now? I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yes, so we're going into spoiler. So there's so many characters in this, but they are still limited. It's not like you lose track of people.
No, you don't.
You know exactly who everybody is.
And how they're related to each other as well.
Yes. So on the cover, you'll see we've got Damien Lewis and we've got Gina McKee. Let's put it a bit closer. So they play Soames and Irene. And Soames is a dick. He is a man who has been raised to believe that when he takes a wife, that wife is his possession.
Well, that's why the first book is called A Man of Property.
Yes.
Because he is literally and metaphorically.
Yes.
And he's a spoiled brat who has a real sense of entitlement.
Yeah.
He believes that power comes from money and possession of people, possession of things, possession of houses.
Yes.
And his sole reason for living is to possess things.
Yes.
And there's an incredible scene in it later on where his mother says that he had a kitten when he was younger.
Yeah.
And he fed it till it was sick.
Yeah.
And then he abandoned it when it didn't want to play with him.
Yeah.
And she said, I should have beaten you and told you not to love like that.
Yeah.
Because that is how he loves. when he falls in love or he has a child, which he only ever has one.
Yeah, and to his disappointment, it's a girl.
It's a girl, but he spoils her. He maligns her.
Yeah.
And that has consequences later on. But the only way he knows how to love is to force himself.
Yes.
Quite literally at one point.
Yes.
Into the lives of the women that he loves.
Yes. And there's a really, especially because we've watched 3 of the episodes last night.
We did.
When he's courting Irene. How, like, they're sort of at a... But they're sort of out, and there's a bit of a kind of a dance. They're kind of like an open tea room sort of thing, kind of like a ballroom thing.
Sort of like an
afternoon tea with a bit of a dance.
With a dance, thing.
It kind of reminds me of like Blackpool ballroom tower.
Yes.
You know, you've got the tables off to the side, having something to eat and something to drink, and then there's this ballroom centre where people are dancing. And he sees this young couple, and the boy lifts up the woman's hand, her gloved hand, and kisses her knuckles.
Yeah,
and it's really beautiful, and she responds. She likes him. So he grabs Irene's hand, and rather than just kissing her knuckles, he like slowly peels the glove off her hand, and then he's like kissing her, just there, isn't it? And like slobbering over her arm.
But it's like he does what he sees or perceives as being romantic, but then does it so much that it's not romantic, it's creepy, but he doesn't understand why she would find that repellent. I mean, the fact she doesn't like him, she doesn't fancy him. If he had been less or more self-aware, but then he can't be self-aware, because his mirror image, his cousin Jolyon, is ultra self-aware.
Yeah.
He has to be the foil for Jolyon.
Yeah.
And I get that. But he pushes the boundary all the time. He never respects her as a person because she is a thing in a house full of things. And
there's this wonderful sequence where their marriage reaches breaking point. And the maid says, "Oh, she left at lunchtime with a couple of bags," and he goes upstairs and all of her stuff is still in cupboards, and he's confused, and he opens a jewellery box, and in a note in the box says something like, "I've only taken what was mine."
No. She says, "I've taken nothing that you or your people have given me."
Yeah. So all of her stuff, everything is left behind.
She has recognised that she is a possession. And I mean, let's talk Turkey.
Yeah.
He rapes her.
Yes.
He comes into her room.
A rape in marriage.
There is, and
it's very interesting with it in regards to, because she locks her room. They're sleeping in separate rooms. She locks her door every night, and this one night she just happens to forget.
Yeah.
And he just randomly tries it, and it opens, and he has been drinking.
Yeah.
And such.
He sees it as an invitation.
Yeah, he sees it as an invitation, and he goes in, and she's fast asleep, and it's like, and he's slowly taking off his clothes and such, and it's like, you have got every chance possible to stop this and leave, and he doesn't.
No, he doesn't, because as far as he's concerned, she's his wife. Yeah. It's her job.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I told you, didn't I, that rape within marriage wasn't made illegal in the UK until 1993.
Yes. So 9 years before this drama was made.
Yeah. And you can... Insane. How many generations of women suffered and suffered and suffered within an institution they had no chance of getting out of?
And because, and just as in, because the time that this is set, a woman had no rights to be able to ask for a divorce, and because of the social standing, Stones would never allow it.
No,
it's so it's Irene is seriously caught in a trap that she can't get out. But my God, she fights to.
She does get out of it. She falls in love with June's boyfriend.
Yeah,
unfortunately.
So
It's conflict, right?
Right.
You've got to go from the beginning.
Soames has a cousin called Jolyon. Young Jolyon, because his father is old Jolyon, who's played by the marvellous Rupert Graves.
Best thing he's ever done.
This is by far the best thing he's done.
I love Rupert Graves in this.
He is stunning, absolutely stunning in this. And young Jolyon, played by Rupert Graves, his eldest child is June. So Irene and June, they've got quite an age difference, but they've become best of friends. They confide in each other with everything. And June has, in 1896, when she's about 18 or something, she has become engaged to Mr. Bassini.
Yeah.
Who Irene falls heads over heels
in
love with.
He does. She does.
Yeah.
And he falls in love with her too.
It's a genuine love. It's not a, sexual tension kind of, we're both in these weird situations, we want to get out, let's just, go for it. They properly fall in love with each other.
And so they properly fall in love with each other and they begin an affair. And the Bassini was commissioned to build a house in Richmond Park called Robin Hill. Yeah,
by Soames. It was commissioned by Soames for Irene.
But it was supposed to be, it was a prison for her. It was a way of isolating her even further, is to get her out of London and away from anybody who she could confide in.
Yeah.
But it backfires on him because Bassini and Irene need to spend time together.
They do.
To talk about the house. And they fall in love and they have this affair. And he sees them together, and that is the catalyst for the rape.
Yes.
That's the huge catalyst.
Yeah.
So the rape occurs, and I have to commend Gina McKee's performance across the board as Irene.
Yeah. But especially in that scene.
In that scene, she is amazing. But then so is Damian Lewis, because the way that he plays it, you see that sort of narcissistic, it doesn't matter what you want, it's what I want that matters.
Yeah.
Part of Soames. I mean, it's always there, but it's like at its absolute height in that moment. It's almost, it's you are here, I am here.
Yeah.
You will give me what I want.
Yeah.
And by the way, I know about him.
Yeah.
And he's not going to want you now, is he?
Yeah.
That's what that is.
It's power.
It's total power play.
And also, the woman who plays the maid.
Yes.
Because their maid is stood, well, she's kind of just walking past them through the hallway, I think probably to, do other stuff. And she hears it, and she kind of takes a step forward to the door, and she stops herself, and she's like, oh my God, she wants to do something, but she knows she can't do it, so she stands there and listens to it. And what is so beautiful about this drama especially is the kind of support moments that people have. So when Irene then leaves the next day, there's this moment where she and the maid, she goes to leave the front door and she's picking up a bag and she sees the maids behind her, and the two of them just stare at each other and they're having this silent conversation. You can see where the maid's going, I'm so sorry, I couldn't help you, and Irene's saying, it's okay, I understand that I have to go now.
There's a little bit of a, don't you?
You know what happened.
And she looks at her as if to say, yeah, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then you have this moment where you see these two women who are trapped in a system neither of them can get out of, having a mutual moment of understanding. And
there's another one, an older generation of the Forsytes, who is M, isn't it?
Aunt Anne. Because she is old Jolyon's sister.
Yeah. And she's very ill, and she has a sort of hairpiece that she wears, and her maid comes in, she hands over the hairpiece, and then walks to the window, opens the curtains, and she just stands with her back to Anne while she fixes herself, and then Anne says, "Oh, good morning," and the maid is like, "Oh, good morning, madam." She's very respectful of that, and later on there's a party being held for June, and she's saying, "I'm going to go to the party," and the maid's going, "No, you're too sick, you're too ill, you can't go." And she said, "I am going to the party." And the maid's like, "Oh, all right." And she turns to leave, and Anne grabs her hand and turns around and said, "But I need your arm to help me through." And it's a wonderful moment. And when we see her dead in her coffin the following episode, the maid comes in and makes sure she has her hairpiece on before everyone arrives, so that nobody can see her.
There are those tiny moments of servant, master, mistress.
It's all about respect, isn't it?
Support.
Yeah, respect and support.
Like Parfit, who is old Jolyon's servant, becomes young Jolyon's servant, and he's there with the fixtures and fittings. He's there for years and years.
Yeah. But along with the dark that you have wonderful light, like Winnie and her husband. Winnie is Soames' sister, and she was raised completely different from Soames. She was raised with freedom, kind of compared to Soames, because he was a boy, he had to be certain. Where it's like, oh, she's the girl, she can do whatever she wants. She is a light in the Forsytes. She likes to have a laugh.
She marries Darty, who's just this.
He's so funny.
Feckless, reckless, and yet you love him. Bloke.
You're
he loves her.
Oh, crying out loud, you've got her in, debt collectors are coming, but we can't leave without you. She stands by her man through everything.
She's very, very fond of him.
Yeah.
And that is why she can't ever leave him.
I love her. Like, when she, Irene's, like, properly introduced her family and they have, like, a dance thing, she invites Irene to dance with her, and the two of them dancing around. And she's like, "Oh, such a scandal! It would be even more scandalous if they knew the condition I was in, like this and stuff." And it's really, she's
great.
Great that, and she's such a lovely mother as well to her kids, and she raises them, I think, kind of like how she was raised.
Yeah, because there's Imogen and Valentine,
or Val,
as they call them.
Yeah. I like Val.
And Val turns into Julian Ovenden.
Yes.
Eventually.
Yes. A very young
Julian
Ovenden.
we've missed out like a huge chunk of the story because young Jolyon, played by the incredible Rupert Graves, leaves his wife, his daughter, his entire family,
everything, his fortune, everything,
for the Austrian governess,
Ellen,
who he falls absolutely in love with. And they literally, I was looking at the timestamp, in the first 20 minutes, they have established this relationship. There is a shitload of chemistry between him and the girl that plays Elaine. She's beautiful. This girl is beautiful and a great actress.
Their chemistry is amazing.
It was gorgeous. And he's left his wife, his daughter, but he doesn't have an affair and sneak around.
No.
They kiss, they decide that they want to be together, and then he goes and he tells his wife. And
then and there.
This is over, this is done, I'm sorry, I don't want to be cruel, but I've got to be with this woman.
And again, it's genuine love.
It is.
And the way that because he's an artist, the way that he kind of shows his love in secret is to draw her in his notepad, and his wife finds it, and it's just page after page after page of this beautiful drawings of her.
I hope the actress got to keep those drawings.
I would say, can I have them?
I would have, because they were gorgeous. Whoever did them, they were beautiful.
Stunning drawings. And what's absolutely beautiful, though, is that with his father, obviously, the separation of him going off and everything meant that his father had to, cut him off. But they just don't communicate. It's not a case of they're screaming at each other all the time and there's horrible things said. And young Jolyon starts his career as an artist, and he feels every time he has a painting or drawing bought that he's becoming more independent. And then when he reunites with his father and they establish good, relationship again, it's revealed that his father is the one that's been buying his paintings. Well, not all of his paintings, but a good chunk of his paintings and that. So his father does.
I loved that, and I loved the fact that, I mean, old Jolyon is played by the late and much missed Corin Redgrave.
Oh, he's wonderful in this.
He's amazing in this. And I loved that old Jolyon later, I think because June gets older, he becomes aware.
He lost his sister.
Yeah.
And June's getting older, so she's going to get married and leave, and he's all alone. And he says, I'm lonely.
He is. And he realises that he made a mistake. He shouldn't have banished him. Yeah. Essentially. And I love that young Jolyon said, I don't want any of your money. I don't want any support. I want to establish myself and with Hélène, and for us to do it on our own.
Yeah. It takes some time for Hélène also to accept him back.
Yes, it does. But once she does,
they have a really beautiful relationship.
They do, and
I love that he calls her my dear and stuff like that. It's not that he
but
he doesn't. That thing that you can have like a conversation but not refer to her by name or something, because there's still a bit of an underlying tension.
Yeah,
he just automatically calls her my dear, but it's nice.
Old Jolyon offers to buy Robin Hill once it's obvious that Soames and Irene are not going to live there, and it takes a lot of time for young Jolyon to come round to the idea. Yeah. And he chooses Hélène and their life in St John's Wood, and they actually have a lovely house. It's not up to the same standard as, say, the Forsyte mansion,
but it's comfortable. It's a family home.
Yeah.
You go there, you feel warmth. Yeah. You feel the love. You feel everything.
Yeah. And they do. They come back together. They both admit their mistakes, and it begins.
It's the first step of change in the family,
and the change is representative of the 20th century that is rapidly approaching.
Yes,
and it's it's so good. It is so good.
There's a very sad section at the end of episode 3, wasn't it? Because we watched it last night. With Bassini.
Yeah.
There's this really...
I was hysterical when it aired.
Yeah, when it aired, you were really,
Dad
really
came
upset.
upstairs and asked me if I was okay. And I was not okay.
Yeah, so with the whole rape having happened, and Irene has told Bassini kind of loses it and runs off to find Soames. And it's like, if he had... As you said last night, if he had decided in that moment to stay there, to be with her,
to take care of her instead of him,
everything would be different.
Yeah.
But I suppose it's that thing that he reached the end of his.
It's incredible when you think about it, how
one
little moment, one decision can change everybody's life.
And it is literally a step, isn't it?
It is a step.
One step. One literal step.
Everybody's
changes
life.
Everything. And Bassini is sadly killed when he steps out in the fog in front of a carriage that he doesn't see coming. And it kills him.
It does.
And Irene is completely distraught. And young Jolyon is the one who has to tell her what's happened, because she has no idea what's happened. And he takes her home. And Soames is there, and he doesn't want his cousin, because they're cousins, Soames and young Jolyon. He doesn't want him in the house and slams a door in his face. And it's like, great, thank you for that. And I
think he's scared for her.
Yeah.
I think he's really scared.
Because he's saying Irene, and his door slams in her face.
Because she is a piece of property who has been returned to her owner.
Yes.
As far as Soames is concerned.
Yeah.
He's a narcissist.
Yeah.
And almost, would you describe him as sociopathic?
I think you could do. It's very interesting as well that because Irene has a great love for art, he becomes, even when they first meet, because she says if there's a particular piece of art in this gallery that she likes, he buys it.
Yeah.
And then he's obsessively buying art all the way to the end of his life, and it feels like he has to have.
But like I said to you yesterday, Jolyon is an artist. Irene loves art, but Soames, they love art for the point of art, which is the provocation of emotion.
Yes.
Whereas Soames loves art for the possession of it.
Yeah.
He loves the fact that he has a whistler or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's not about what the painting means.
Yeah.
It's about the fact that he owns it.
I find it, really interesting that there's this whole thing about a piece of art to do with his daughter and the man who wants to be with her. And, various things happen, and at her wedding day, she's got married, and she comes downstairs in her outfit to go on a honeymoon, which is it's like Irene's the iconic red dress from when she dances with Bassini in front of everyone at the party. She's all in red, and she says, Daddy, that painting that you bought, and it's the girl in the painting looks a lot like Fleur, which is why he kind of is obsessed with it. And she says, make sure it's gone by the time I get home. And she goes off, and and he knows it's highly unlikely she's going to come back.
Right.
And she just says, get rid of it.
Because I
think it's not me anymore.
I think it would be interesting for me to listen to that play and see Fleur post-marriage.
Yes.
Because it'd be interesting to see how that part of her acknowledging that she is a possession of his too. Yeah. Because she's born after he divorces Irene, he gets remarried to a French woman who
he basically buys her again. He buys her restaurants. Yeah.
He quickly lets her know that you're just another possession.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. That woman. What's her name?
Oh God, I can't actually remember.
Yvette.
Something like that. Let me look it up. Carry on.
Yvette.
Yeah.
That she sees it as, well, you marry money to be comfortable, and you find your pleasure elsewhere.
Yeah.
Because that's her attitude to it. But she has a terrible time giving birth to Fleur.
Yeah.
Which is interesting when you think, because Irene and Jolyon get married eventually. Young Jolyon. Just to marry. Eventually. And they have a son called John.
Yes.
And that leads to the second generation of Forsytes, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. And it's just, absolutely amazing when you think about... okay, I've just found her on Wikipedia. When you think about how he really triggers them getting married. Annette, that's it.
I knew it was Annette.
He really triggers him and Annette getting married when young Jolyon and a pregnant Irene turn up at her family restaurant.
And they're not married.
They're not married, but they're having a kid. It's the 20th century,
It's so funny to me. Because he's absolutely disgusted.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he?
So
he's disgusted with them.
So he goes, Annette, marry me. Let's have a kid. It's really bizarre. But what I do also love about this drama is, characters like Winnie and such, and Darcy, and the shade, like scandalous looks over wine glasses, and there's this really great moment in the second series. It's actually the beginning of the first episode of the second series, where one of the relatives is having a party. I think is it Aunt Hannah or something, and she and June Hester and June turns up with little John and little Fleur's there, and Darcy meets her out front, and he went, are we having entertainment this afternoon, my darling? When he walks in, and when he's like, no, why? And he said, because the fireworks are about to go off. And June enters, and it's like, ow!
And he just sits there.
The red dress moment, and Darcy and his friends are just like
and then
quaffing champagne and going, scandal.
Just like waiting for the shit to hit the fan.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's fantastic. But then, it follows the second generation into the second series, which I think is the fourth book.
I don't know.
I think it's either like the third or the fourth book. I'm not too sure. Oh no, it's the third, because the third book is To Let, and it's all about Robin Hill at the end of Irene and leaving the house and everything. And it follows on with the next generation and the complications that have come through. But what I absolutely adore with the second series, especially, is young Jolyon and stuff that he goes through. And with Irene and such, and Rupert Graves is just amazing. I was floored by his performance in this.
Yeah,
it is. Wow.
But my favourite line in the second series is because Jolyon is told that he's dying, basically.
Yeah. He's got heart disease.
His heart is diseased, and he's not got long left. And he tells Irene
very late on.
Very late, because he doesn't want to tell her.
No, he keeps it a secret from everyone.
He does. And she says, how long? And he says, I don't know, but it was all that loving.
Yeah.
All that loving. And that just, to me, that is his character.
It defines him.
It absolutely defines him.
Just as Soames with his possessions, his issue with possessions, love defines young Jolyon. And he always follows his heart.
He does.
I think it's probable that he's always been like that since he was a child.
Well, he says
that, like with that kitten, how Soames would feed it until it was sick.
Yeah,
he would lovingly care for it. He would, I kind of feel like it was like a kitten, like a premature kitten. He would feed it. He would, properly look after it. That's what young Jolyon is.
See, to me, there's a moment in the beginning of the series when he leaves his wife Frances for Ailing. And old Jolyon comes up to him and he's absolutely furious that he's done this.
Yeah.
And he said, you knew her 4 months before you married her, and that was only because you were on the rebound from such and such.
Yeah.
So yes, I think he was a man who followed his heart.
Yes.
And his loins a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think he married Frances. I think he did love Frances, and I think she loved him. So we were talking about this yesterday.
I think they really did, but it's just that thing that time has passed on.
See,
your relationship they've been comfortable, but it's changed.
I think for them, I think she had June, and I think she probably had a very hard time having June.
Quite possibly.
And I think she didn't want to ever risk having another baby.
Maybe that was it.
He found Ailing. I don't think he would have been the type of man to actively cheat on her.
Exactly. So that's when they have that amazing kiss.
That is a good kiss.
Oh my God, that is an amazing kiss.
That is like a dam breaking.
They go straight away, and she says, Frances is saying something with her back to him, and about, is it over? Because he's basically, she sent him to fire Ailing. And your affair is over or something like that. And he says, until tonight, nothing had happened. And she turns around and she sees them both stood there holding hands. And so he's completely honest.
But it's like I said, I don't think he'd ever just... I mean, old Jolyon says to him, look, if you've got stuff that your wife won't do, there are women that you can find that will.
Yeah.
And
he's like, no,
I don't want to do that. I don't think he was a man who would actively cheat on his wife just for sex. I think he found Ailing, he found his soulmate in Ailing.
Yeah.
He found love, he found lust, he found his heart.
Yeah.
He found passion again, and he couldn't not do that.
Yeah.
But with Irene, when they get together, they have both, because Ailing dies after
5 years after the reunion, something.
I think so.
Because Holly is about 8, something like that.
Yes, she is, isn't she?
Yeah, because they have 2 children together, Ailing and Jolyon. So there's Jolyon again, who they call Jolly, and their daughter Holly. So it's Jolly and Holly.
Holly and Jolly.
And Holly's the younger one, and she's probably about 7 or 8, and Jolly must be about 10, 11.
Yeah. That's right. So they've had a life together. Elaine dies, I think. Is it when he's away?
No.
Oh no, he goes away.
It's old Jolyon who dies when he's away, and but Irene is with him.
That's right, because he goes on holiday after Elaine's death to spend some time on his own, doesn't he?
Yes,
processing his grief.
Yeah,
and that's right. It's old Jolyon that dies, and
because
Irene
he's away with June.
That's it.
Because they've re-established their relation. Their relationship's amazing.
Yeah.
And because obviously it's very complex, and she's never really known her father, because in a sense he was around when she was little, but she's grown up quite a bit since then, so she doesn't really remember him. And then suddenly he re-enters her life when she's about 17.
Yeah, 17 or 18.
It takes, and she keeps on calling him Jolyon. And then right near the end of the first series, she calls him Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when they really...
come back together,
and they're like that.
So by the time Irene and Jolyon get married, they've both loved and lost someone that they saw as a soulmate, and
young Jolyon's lost a bit more as well.
Yeah, through their experiences, they have been there for each other at the worst moments of their lives. Yeah.
Jolyon told Irene about Bassini, and Irene is there when Jolyon gets a horrific piece of news.
Yeah.
And obviously she's there when old Jolyon dies. And she is there to support young Jolyon.
Yeah.
So they're just a wonderful support network.
They are. I don't think that they are soulmates. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like they adore each other. They really adore each other. They have a good marriage together.
Yeah.
But they're soulmates.
They're full of love, but they know that their soulmate was the one who they lost.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that they live in a loveless marriage, because that could be far from the truth. That's further from the truth.
They absolutely adore each other and are happy together and have a beautiful life together.
And I love, there's this wonderful moment where Jolyon's found out that he has this heart disease, and he comes home from the doctors, and he's kind of debating about what to do, and he hears music, because Irene is a wonderful piano player. She's absolutely wonderful. And he walks into the room, kind of hidden away in the doorway, and Val and his wife.
Holly is
It's
Val's
Holly,
wife.
yeah, it's Holly, isn't it? Yeah. Val and Holly are at the piano playing, and Irene is dancing
with John. Yeah.
Or is it John? I can't. Well, she's dancing with someone. I can't remember.
It's John.
It is John.
Yeah.
And they're just dancing away, and he just stands there and he smiles, and that's my beautiful family, and I don't want to do anything.
You don't want to
upset them, so he keeps it to himself, and it's a wonderful moment.
And Rupert's eyes in that moment.
My God.
And he's like, I'm going to lose this.
He's so
but I want to keep this for as long as I've got it. And it's just, oh God, he's so fucking talented. It's ridiculous. Look, Rupert Graves, I've kind of had a bit of a thing for him since I was like a teenager.
Probably because of this.
Slightly. And then I saw Morris, and then there was Charles II.
Yeah.
And
then obviously more recently Sherlock.
He was so dirty in that.
But isn't it funny that the aging of the characters, like I said, the makeup, he pretty much looks at the end of his time in the Forsyte Saga how he looks now.
Give him another 10 years.
Yeah, a bit more aging, because obviously the actual age gap between when Jolyon dies and how he is now. But he's not far off. They're not far off. So bravo, the makeup department for aging them properly. Even like Soames.
And I've got to say, Damian Lewis is a really attractive bloke.
Yeah.
But somehow they made him
kind of like, the way the hair is, the paleness of his face, the washed out
camera angles as well.
There is an amazing sequence there where Fleur gives him a makeover in the second series, and it's so excruciatingly funny. It's ridiculous. He's wearing the straw hats, the striped kind of jackets at that time.
Can he?
Yeah. Why on earth does this have a pale pink ribbon on my hat? Why?
Yeah, no, he is an Edwardian to his core.
Yeah,
he really is. Or Victorian, really.
But it's very interesting how Soames just cannot change into the the new development, the new century, the new ways of the world that Jolyon, his cousin, can.
Yeah.
And it's very clear, because we said in series 1, isn't it, that when Jolyon leaves to be with Ellen and he gets a bit longer hair and he gets, goatee, it's like costume designer just went, Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens.
He kind of does this like almost Monet. Well, not that long.
But it's really interesting because he'll wear like a dark coat, but he'll have like a bright yellow scarf. Something like he's
just very bohemian.
He's very bohemian. But the use of colour is amazing, because like when he goes to the family bank because he wants money to buy a house in London, and it's all black and white, but there's this like flash of colour from his scarf. It shows through colour how he stands out from the rest of his family. And of course, because he's an artist, he loves colouring and everything. And with the second series, how the next generation are affected. And I hate Fleur.
See, I feel sorry for her.
I feel sorry for her, but because she's such a spoiled brat. But the girl who played her, fair play to her, especially with the bit with John at Robin Hill, and she's screaming for him. Yeah. And Irene goes over to the piano and drowns her out with music.
See, that Fleur's psychology is absolutely fascinating,
isn't it?
Because she is a spoiled brat, and she is literally spoiled by Soames to always have her own way, to never
compromise,
never respect authority, including his, to essentially only get her own way.
Yes.
All the time.
Yes.
Only her way.
Yeah.
And she meets John as a child, and then they are separated, and nothing is said to John. He wanted to know who this girl was, and they were like, you don't need to know.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And they meet again as teenagers.
Yeah, when
about 5 years later.
I think it's longer than that, because I think John is only about 7 or 8 when they meet.
No. That's the first time.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's the first time. Yeah. So about 5 or 6 years later.
Yeah.
When they're a bit older, they meet again, and they realise, wow, I have a cousin. I had no idea who.
Yeah.
And they're like, you don't talk to him.
Yeah.
You don't look at him. He's got nothing to do with us. He's on the other side of the family. And because she's a child who has been told no, she goes, yes.
And I will look into. Yeah. I will figure this out. I am going to know the truth about what happened.
Yeah.
And what she figures out to be, or she deems to be truth, couldn't be further from the actual truth.
And then she and John become, well, they get together, and the two sides of the family try to separate them.
And young Jolyon is devastated by them being together.
He is devastated, and there's a scene in it where he tells John exactly what happened to his mother.
Yeah.
Exactly why she left him. Mm-hmm. And I understand why he did that, why he had to be so forceful, but then part of me thinks that wasn't your story to tell.
Yeah.
As well.
Yeah. But, it had to be said. He had to find out.
But then again, in a sense, would Irene have had the strength to tell him?
No, but I think because of where they had gone in their relationship and the stuff that was going on with a possible marriage and going to Gretna Green and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It had at some point it had to come out. It wasn't a case of they're going to separate and then never see each other again.
Mm-hmm.
There is a line being crossed now.
Yeah.
And that's the point where, it has to be so. But we haven't really, just kind of in the second series, when they're older, how important June is in regards to, because it's her art gallery where they bump into each other.
That's right.
That she's set up. It's also the art gallery where she reveals to John about Bassini.
Mm-hmm.
It's, it's absolutely wonderful. And with June, she's a very interesting character, because after Bassini dies, she never loves again.
No.
She becomes this spinster, but she's a spinster who wears trousers, rides a motorbike, has her own art gallery. She does whatever the heck she wants, and she doesn't apologise for it. She's a real independent woman. But again, at the same time, it's kind of incredibly sad. And
she's not independent at
all. No. In regards to having that ability to have her own art gallery, that compared to other women of that time.
I get that, but you're not really independent if you're trading on Daddy's name to open an art gallery.
Okay.
And his money.
Okay, then she's not quite independent. But
she's living her own life.
But as we discussed earlier, how it is kind of sad at the same time that she hasn't opened herself to love again. But maybe it's that thing, because of the time that she had her heart broken, it was a case of, in society, she had to wait for someone to come up to her, and and maybe she has that in her mindset that's why. But
maybe.
So I feel sad for her in a sense that she didn't love again, but she found a love through art, and she fights for votes, votes for women and stuff like this. She's a suffragette. Yeah. I like it when she turns up wearing trousers and a motorbike, and her father's like, "My God," it's quite shocking that she's done that. Things like that. I really love June. For things like that, and she's not afraid to tell John off when he does.
No, she's not. He's kind of. He's not spoiled, but he's sheltered.
Yeah.
He's been hugely sheltered growing up.
She must be, 20 years older than him?
Yeah.
Must be.
She must be, because...
At least 20 years.
It starts in 1874, and June's about 4. So she was born in 1870.
Yeah.
So in 1920...
No. She's significantly older.
She is.
Well, no. John is about 19 in the 1920s, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah, because he was born in 1900, so she's almost 30 years older than him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's not afraid to tell him off.
No, she's like a second mother to him, really, isn't she?
Yeah.
But she's played by the incredible Gillian Kearney, who became Emma Barton
in
Emmerdale.
Yeah.
And she's such a great actress. She was such a loss when her character was killed off.
Yeah. She's everything I've seen her in. I thoroughly enjoyed her performance, but I especially love her development of June in this, because she goes from a girl, very naive girl, of about 16 all the way through to in her 30s or 40s, and she goes from and when Irene slaps her across the face when she's about 18 or whatever, she so deserves it.
But I think in that moment as well, Irene was slapping Soames.
Yes. Oh yes,
she was slapping
because she recognised Soames, that kind of tone.
Yeah.
And ever since Bassini and that day, she's hated Soames.
Yeah.
Hated him.
Mm-hmm.
And she does anything she can to be, different from Soames.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting how Soames comes to her art gallery. He's not aware that she's the owner, and they meet and talk. And it's the one time they have a civil conversation without yelling at each other or causing a scene, isn't it?
That scene between Soames and June after Bassini's funeral.
Oh yeah,
when she is reading him for blood because of what he did and who he was.
Well, he turns up at the funeral in the hopes to see Irene, doesn't he?
And she goes wild at him. But Gillian Kearney and Damian Lewis in that scene are fantastic.
Yeah.
I don't know if she is. I've only ever seen her in UK based things.
Same here.
I've never seen her in like an international thing like Damian Lewis has been in Band of Brothers and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
But
I'd like to look into her other stuff that she's done.
She was in this drama about a school, and she was either she played, I think, the head teacher of the school, and one of the teachers ran off with their student.
Oh, right, okay.
And she had to confront her, and if I'm right, I might not be right. She had this scene with this teacher. She goes absolutely nuts at this teacher. Honestly, you should look up her work on Emmerdale. She did incredible.
I quite like to look into her other stuff that she's done.
She did brilliantly in Emmerdale.
Yeah, but overall, this drama just had me caught. And like I said, we were having like a conversation over Messenger, weren't we? And you said, "Oh, should we have a phone call?" And I'm like, "Go away, go away!
Yeah,
I can't stop. I have to watch this."
That's when me and Sarah were talking for almost 3 hours.
But I was like, because I was right near the end. I was like one episode away from finishing the 2 series.
Yeah,
and I was like, "No, can't stop! I have to watch this."
Yeah.
But I absolutely adored it, and so I've bought the first volume books because Penguin Classics, they've taken the 9 books and all the short stories and put them in 2 volumes. So I've got the first volume, which, from what I understand, goes up to the end of what is the series 2 of this. So I've got the books that cover this entire sessions, but after that, it goes through. Fleur becomes the main character, and it's all to do with her cousins and stuff that happens. And Soames is there until his death, and Irene and John make an appearance as well. But other than that, it's totally new characters. So thus, it made sense where they stopped it for the second series of Forsyte Saga.
Yeah.
But if you want to listen to the continuations, I recommend the most recent BBC radio, The Forsytes. Now, you can't buy this as a CD anymore. I bought it when it first came out, but you can buy it on Audible. Laura's just downloaded it. It's like a cream background with a drawing of a house, and it says The Complete Forsytes, and this it. And Jessica Raine from Call the Midwife plays Fleur, and it's really interesting because she narrates the story, and she doesn't reveal who she is until the point that her character enters the story. And it's really interesting because as she narrates, she passes comments about Soames and going, "Oh, Soames, why did he do that? What? I don't understand." And then when her character comes in and she says something like, I came into the world, yes, you probably guessed that he's my dad, and that's why I have to love him." And stuff. Yeah. It's not a want for love for what he did. It's I have to love him.
Yeah.
And then you just find out why, because her passing that comment, why she is the way she is, as we discussed.
Yeah.
And it goes all the way through. And the way that Soames dies, I think is wonderful.
Karma's a bitch.
She accidentally causes his death by setting fire to the house that she lives with her husband after being heartbroken by John, who she's had an encounter with years and years and years after they had their thing, which covers series 2 of the Forsyte Saga. And he's broken her heart again and said, "Look, I'm married. I'm not doing this. You have a kid." She's got a kid at this point, little kid. And so she accidentally sets fire to the house, and Soames is like, "Get out, we've got to get you out." And she's like, "Oh, just leave me to burn," and all this lot. And his precious artwork is in there, and he goes back for his artwork
for the possessions,
and the house.
God, he's so dumb.
And the house falls on top of him and kills him, crushes him to death.
Oh, he's so stupid. Why is he so stupid?
I know. But it's the possession thing. It's the possession.
It's kind of a gorgeous metaphor.
Exactly. It's wonderful.
It's a great metaphor.
But the later books follow her cousins and such, and it has kind of an abrupt ending. But that's because it's the way that the books ended. You can't shimmy it up. But yeah, her cousin falls in love with a man who's a Muslim, and there's social stuff into the 1930s and such there. So I really recommend this one. The other one that I've got is from 1990, and this one has got Dirk Bogarde in it. It's good, but it's not as good as the most recent one. It feels very traditional, but I don't know if that's just because of BBC drama and such at that time, or if it's because of when it's set. It's bringing through the traditional tones of the period into it. Because I was thinking around that time they were doing Tess of the D'Urbervilles and such on BBC Radio, which are absolutely brilliant, and Wuthering Heights and such. So I think it's more to do with the piece. I do like it, but it's not as good as the Forsyte. So I'd strongly recommend this, and its entirety is available on Audible, which you downloaded today. And of course, I've got the beautiful score from
perfect.
June's song.
Beautiful.
June's song is my absolute favourite, and it's a piece of music that follows her throughout the 2 series, and the lyrics to it are really interesting because it's her and Bassini, and it's like, I'm here, but you aren't here, you know, kind of.
Oh, they use Sissel.
Yeah.
Oh, I love her.
I know, she's got
and
beautiful.
Brintervel,
who is, and his song.
God, I love Brintervel so much.
His song, you can hear it partly over the lyrics, but there's a short version and the full long version on the soundtrack. And it's basically Irene and Bassini dancing in front of everyone. You know, life is a dance.
We must learn.
We must learn.
Into the night we must turn.
And it's all about.
I hate that with lyrics. Where you like have to sing the song in your head.
I don't think there's any lyrics. There's no lyrics in there.
Yes, there are. Oh, no, into the night we will turn. Time holds the secret of our song. Moments are given, then gone. Come have this dance with me, darling. I'll hold you tight till the dawn. Let the night see how I love you, so the moon can tell the sun. One more time around the sky. Kiss each tear that you have cried. Soon the day will tell everyone, I'll love you till I die. Look at your hair flowing in the night. Look at your lips in this light. Just let me kiss them this one more time. Nothing was ever so right. Life is a dance we must learn. Into the night we will turn. Time holds the secret of our song. Moments are given, then gone. It's just so perfect.
Bryn sings it beautifully. The short version is on the credits of every episode, but the long version is on the soundtrack, and it's absolutely beautiful.
It is gorgeous.
And I feel like when I listen to it, especially June's song, I feel like I'm floating on a cloud.
Yeah.
I could just sit there, just lay back and just go.
Brintervel is one of my favourite singers. He's so talented. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
So even if you don't read the books, please check out this drama and the soundtrack and the really good radio play version.
And the not so good
the more traditional radio play version. Yeah, I got this secondhand on Marketplace and it said 9 discs, and I thought, oh, okay, it won't be that thick. It's bloody huge.
It's a brick.
It's a brick. It's 3 double disc sets in there, and it's like, I thought like 9 discs because obviously compact. That's 15. That's 9.
It's a big one.
So yeah, but yeah, check out all of these, especially the drama, and we love it.
We do.
So yeah, so that's our thoughts on the Forsyte Saga.
Yeah.
Yay, and now Laura has to go home.
Now I have to go home.
Oh,
my train is in an hour and a half. So
we better get ready. Yeah, so thanks for watching, guys. If you've got any comments, leave us comments, and we'll see you when we see you. Yeah. And hopefully we'll be able to do another time for you to come over soon.
Yes, so, I've got that much left of Discovery of Witches, so hopefully by the time I get back you'll have seen it too, perhaps, maybe.
Well, I've got that book to read. I might make it, go, because I've got fiction next to read with Couple Next Door. I might just do another fiction. I might start on that.
Yeah, I mean, the Couple Next Door, I read that in 2 days. So
I'm sure I'll be fine.
Like a day.
But yeah, I've still got half of Shirley Temple to get through.
Yes.
So anyway, see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.